Good morning, wonderful people. Welcome to the Progressive. Continuing from yesterday, we were talking about the 5 C's of critical thinking, which are useful in our understanding of the new human being model and how we can actually implement this. The final call will be in implementing this. It should not be a theoretical mind game. This is not a mind game, folks. This can be practically useful in everything, whatever we are doing. Okay, so today we will talk about the 8 dimensions, the 8 D's of critical thought, which I use in the critical thinking workshop model. This is from the slide presentation of critical thinking workshop, which you can see on my channel. I'll link up somewhere here. So what is 8 dimensions of critical thought? And keep watching, because I will link this to the astrology and the ascendants and planets as well. It's very interesting how this plays out. So the 8 dimensions of critical thought. What do I mean by dimensions of critical thought? Dimensions are the ways in which we can think. I can't really call it directions. I call it dimensions for a reason. Dimensions of thought means, when I use the word dimension here, what I'm referring to is the whole world that it opens up for every single one of these 8 dimensions in this table that you can see. If we use this model in critical thinking workshops around the world, wherever it is that you are doing, you might be doing in some other form, some other fashion, but build this into that, and I'll tell you why it's so useful. Every single one of these are worlds of themselves. It's like a dimension in itself, and it can evolve a whole new set of ideas, whole new set of work methodology, procedure, the ways of doing things, ways of thinking, ways of implementing in our world, right? So what does it mean? We have the first 2. Let's go through one by one, and then we'll dissect them as we go along. That's easier. Extroversion and introversion. This is simplest one to understand. We all know about extroverts and introverts. What are they in terms of critical thinking? What do they mean really? Let's go through them. Extroversion is outwardly directed energy needed to move into action. Responsiveness to what is going on in the environment. That's what extroversion is. It is a more responsive type. It's a reactive type of energy. A natural inclination to converse and to network. These people are good networkers, marketing people, social people. An extrovert's source or direction of energy expression is mainly in the external world. That's the key. I've just captured the key points here. Introversion means inwardly directed energy. It's about me going inward within myself, evaluating whatever has been going on in the external world or in my own thoughts, whichever way. Inwardly directed energy needed for focused reflection. It's self-reflecting mechanism that we all possess. Each one of us has this. Each one of us has actually all the 8. It's just the proportions might change. Stability from attending to enduring ideas. Enduring is the main question there. Introverts are more focused on whatever is relevant to them in their life. Natural tendency to think and work alone. Introverts. An introvert has a source of energy mainly in their own internal world. Okay? Sensing. Sensing is a mastery of facts. The sensors are the master of facts because they are having sensory perception of the world. They're going through their 5 senses. Right, the 5 indriyas. Knowledge of what material and resources are available. Appreciation of knowing what and doing what works. These are very practical people. Right there you can see a very Capricornian kind of energy, very practical, grounded. Aquarius, Capricorn. Sensing means that a person mainly believes information he or she receives directly from the external world. So they have talents more in the area of what works, what doesn't work, how to implement in the real world, in the practical grounded terms, that kind of a thing. Intuition, the next dimension of thought. Intuition is insight and attention to meaning. This is where intuition comes as an idea or as a thought, and we translate it to some meaning, a grasp of what is possible and trends are. Appreciation of doing things as what has not been tried before. This is where we transcend the limits of our thought and bring in something new. Some of the greatest writers, some of the greatest poets, artists, philosophers, scientists, quantum physicists, they have all been highly intuitive people. They have got their knowledge or their perception through the dream time or through waking up and having a visual thought experiment like Einstein used to. Intuition means that a person believes mainly information he or she receives from the internal or imaginative world. Okay. Next dimension of thought is thinking itself. Thinkers, what do they mean? Analysis of pros and cons of any situation, even when they have a personal stake. This is more like Gemini energy, more like Mercury. You see, intellectual people, they're all about the mind. Even Aquarius, all about the mind, the air signs, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. More like mercurial energy. An ability to analyze and solve problems, want to discover the truth, and naturally notice logical inconsistencies. They have an eye for this detail. Logical inconsistencies. You said that back then, but now you're telling me something contradictory. They can catch contradictions or self-contradictory statements very easily. They have a natural talent for it. Thinking means that a person makes decision mainly through logic and reasoning. Mercury. Feeling, more like Venus and Moon. Knowledge of what is important to people. They are more people oriented. Librans, Taurans, right? Cancerians. What is important to people and adhere to that in the face of opposition. They'll be more about people. Well, how does it affect the people? How does it affect society? How does it affect learning, knowledge? So they're more about feeling all these kinds of things. The ability to build relationships and to be persuasive. They're very persuasive kind of people. Desire to uncover the greatest good in a situation. These are the people like the Librans who tend to notice the good in the things, the good in the society. What can we do good for the society? And considering people as the aspect, very important to build it in critical thinking. So, desire to uncover the greatest good in a situation and notice where people may be harmed. Feeling means that as a rule he or she makes a decision based on emotion. See the difference between thinkers and feelers right there. One is Mercury and one is Venus. Both are Rajasic qualities. One is about the head and one is about the heart. Judging and perceiving, these are the last two. Judging means judges, what do? They organize, planning, follow through on projects. Saturn, very Saturn. Push to get things done and decided. Appreciation of well-organized efficiency. The earth signs, for example, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, these are all about earthly signs. They are about implementing in concrete structures. Just no point being in the head all the time. We need implementation in the real world. Appreciation of a well-organized efficiency. Judging means that a person organizes all of his or her life as a rule, sticks to the plans, routines, procedures, law, legal terms, scientific papers, publishing things on a provable basis. All the scientific community, it doesn't matter physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, these are all scientific grounded structures which we can prove again and again in a laboratory, right? Perceiving is the last one, which is kind of opposite to judging, more like Jupiterian energy here, quickly and flexibly responding to the needs of the moment, being very present. Kind of Jupiterian, isn't it? Very Sagittarius or Pisces type. Strive to keep things open so that new information may be gathered. Information is right there, again Jupiter. Appreciation of the need for spontaneity and exploration. Perceiving means that he or she is inclined to improvise and explore alternative options. Very Jupiterian again. So extroversion maybe is something like just like Aries, Mars. Just wants to go out there and do stuff. Or a Libran just wants to go out there and do stuff. The air energies are all extroverts basically. Introversion is like Scorpio or Aquarius. They all want to go inside and delve into stuff. Sensing and intuition is more like, intuition will be again Scorpio, but combined with Ketu kind of energy. Sensing and intuition is very Ketu-like energy. It's the south node of the moon. Sensing is more like going out there, like Rahu kind of energy. Thinking and feeling maybe, like I said, Mercury and Venus. Judging and perceiving maybe like Saturn and Jupiter. See how these things tie into astrology? It's amazing. Just this morning I had this download. So we can take all this, build into the critical thinking workshop model. And why it's important, what's the objective of critical thinking workshop that I do? Well, there are these 8 dimensions of critical thinking and 5 parts, the 5 C's. Combine them and you have a total of 40 combinations. These 40 combinations, if a person goes through all the 40 ways of thinking using this workshop model, it is like, simply put, one person is capable of thinking like 40 different unique people. So one person will develop 40 different approaches to whatever they are doing. It doesn't matter what they are doing. There is the capacity to critically think about their issues of life, about their work, about their family, about their jobs, about their career, about their relationships, about everything. First step is to improvise the mind, folks. Next step comes all the other spiritual stuff. Okay, first let's deal with whatever we got, the equipment called the human brain. This tends to build new pathways, neural pathways which are already there in the head, like neuro-linguistic programming calls it neural pathways. You're trying to exercise a dimension of your brain or the neural pathways of your brain and bring them into focus by participating in the workshop. That's the idea of this critical thinking workshop. One person able to think like 40 different people. How do you get that? Well, it's like a muscle. It's to form a neural pathway or to build a new neural pathway in your brain where information flows. It's an exercise. It's like learning to swim or riding a bike. You have to participate to explore it more. It is not a theory that can be studied in a book form or in a university or a college degree. It has to be an exercise and it has to be done collectively with different people. The more we do this with different people, we can start with 5 minimum because there are 5 steps and you can go up till about 40, but my experience 40 is just a stretch too much. 20 people should be good enough because then it gets too complex. We can't get too complex in the critical thinking workshop. We have to be taking gentle steps with people, yeah? So that's how we build the new human being model here. One of the ways in which we can build a new human being model, and all the aspects of the being which we speak in terms of the 6, understanding, compassion, love, knowledge, balance and beauty, will come into focus. While practicing this, it will come into focus. That's what it is aiming to build, achieve. Okay, take care, subscribe and share this video, leave your comments. I'd appreciate your feedback. Take care, have a nice day.